Start recording, ma'am. Human beings' language is based on the vocabulary, which consists of three basic language units: pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Grammar provides the overall patterns, and the vocabulary is a basic material to put into the patterns. Because there is no sentence, no essay, and even no language without vocabulary. As one of the famous English applied linguistics, Wilkins said, out grammar, very little can be conveyed. Without vocabulary, nothing can be conveyed. So therefore, to a great extent, students' ability of listening, speaking, reading, writing, and translating is all influenced by the vocabulary. Vocabulary teaching is a process, but its aims are clear, not only make students memorize words as much as possible, but also make them master their skills of vocabulary, memorizing, and train their ability of guessing words, meaning from context. Vocabulary is the most important element in learning well a foreign language as one of the three basic parts: phonetics, vocabulary, and grammar. In vocabulary teaching, researchers' vocabulary knowledge can be divided into internal knowledge and external knowledge, including the definition of conceptual meaning, its grammar, connotations, pragmatic rules, and the social cultural message it carries. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the present audience here. Respected IELTA board members, country ambassadors, IELTA members, and all the special guest teachers here today. It's an honor to be graced by the presence of you all and welcoming you all to IELTA India's webinar series number 6. Of course, this is the first webinar in this year 2024. So today's webinar is an extract on vocabulary teaching through colors. Hope it will be more colorful today. Let us take a moment to introduce our today's agenda and then followed by a moderator's introduction. Slide, please. Next slide. From the lens of English language at the vocabulary teaching. This is our today's topic, and the agenda is introduction of this moderator today, and IELTA International board details, and also introduction of IELTA India team, and then will be announcements, introduction of the speaker, and then QA session, followed by selfie time, don't miss it, reflections, and then felicitations. Then there comes the word of thanks by the special guest today, and then participation certificate, sharing the link on the chat box. So please be with us. Next slide. Thank you. Next slide. I would like to invite Mrs. Namrata Bobde. She is a 10 years experienced teacher and she is residing in Uttarakhand state, Dehradun in India. This is the most coolest place. It's a holiday place. And she is also a teacher, an expertise teacher in CBSE schools. And she is also running a great project, Worldwide Green Project. That is a sustainability project. And she is also a very active member of IELTA India. And she has participated in many projects and webinars. She's an international speaker. She's awarded as a Best Teacher Award in some webinars and in international competitions. And I would like to invite Mrs. Namrata Bobde to take over the session. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry. Warm greetings to everyone. So yes, I welcome you all to yet another exciting and enlightening webinar by IELTA India. It's a pleasure to welcome you all. The International English Language Teachers Association, IELTA India International, which is officially registered. Here the list is still incomplete. We have already reached up to 70 countries, and this year we are hoping to incorporate at least 100 countries along with us. This is the official list of the countries along with us in the IELTA. IELTA International has different departments like the academic department, the teachers development department, research development department, learners development department, and the international affairs department. Now let me introduce to our board of directors. Our president is Dr. Neil from Peru, Vice President Ms. Sola, General Secretary Dr. Ashneen, Academic Department Director Dr. Glenn, International Affairs Department Director Ebenezer, and Dr. Corla Magno Sancho, who is the Administrative Department Director. IELTA India. And here comes our Indian team. The board members of IELTA India. Our very own Dr. Kalyani Rao, who is the country ambassador and the president of IELTA India. Professor Raj, Academic Director, Training Department. Dr. Vise, Academic Department, L&D Department. Dr. Dhanam, who is Executive Board Advisor. Mrs. L. Christina is the Administrative Director. Mr. Ayyappa Raja is the Marketing and Media Director. Mr. Vishnu Nair, the IIT Director, and Dr. Venkata, who is the Executive Board Advisor. Please take out time and don't forget to join on 13th of April also, because we are going to have a roundtable conference where we are going to talk about the contemporary global trends in language teaching. Please find out time. This is very interesting webinar coming up. So I request you all to see you on 13th April too. Talking about today's speaker. Today's speaker is none other than the respectable Dr. Pradyumansinh Raj. Dr. Pradyumansinh Raj has 15 years of teaching experience. He has pursued research in the area of TBLT and EAP for doctoral studies. Currently, he is working as an assistant professor, School of Business and Law, Navratna University, Vadodara, Gujarat. During his tenure of working, he has performed different responsibilities as a subject coordinator, course coordinator, program coordinator, director of centralized English language department, training students, orientation and training teaching staff, nodal officer for language courses of international students, etc. He taught communication skills and personality development related courses in different undergraduate and postgraduate programs of engineering, management, nursing, arts, commerce, science, physiotherapy, social work, and design. He has completed his doctoral in the area of TBLT and ESP. He has received multiple national and international certifications from bodies like TEFL, Canada, IDP, Australia, Cambridge English, Pearson Qualifications, International, ATS Propel, USA, Boston Educational Services, etc. He has authored and edited 9 books in total, out of which 2 are with Macmillan Pan India. He has co-authored 12 papers which are published in different national and international journals. So now I welcome Dr. Raj to please continue.
Yeah, your co-host now, Mr. Raj.
Okay, okay, yes, fine. Okay, is the presentation visible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Namrata ma'am,
Thank you
please
very much.
coordinate.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So once again, I welcome you all on behalf of IELTA India. So here is Dr. Pradyumansinh Raj. And I would be sharing my experience of teaching vocabulary to the students of interior design. It happened so that I was a part of syllabus design committee where we did needs analysis. And based on needs analysis, we came to know that from different stakeholders' needs analysis, like teachers, professors, employers, administrators, parents, we came to know that vocabulary was kind of a gray area for majority of the students taking up interior design as a specialization. So the issue that they were facing was that even when they learn language, due to lack of vocabulary, they were not confident in speaking the language. So taking up that challenge, we did a pilot study for 1 semester. And my experience of that pilot study, I shall be sharing here in today's session. Okay. So we designed an activity in which we introduced a situation to the students in a session that they were asked mandatorily to stay in hostel of the college. And as this was to be conducted in first semester, it was quite relevant to them. And we told them that being first batch of the course, they were allowed to design interior of their room. Now imagine a student of interior design who are given an opportunity to design interior of their hostel room. Okay, but before that, because it was a two-seater room, they had to select their roommate. So the condition was that they had to select a roommate for their hostel room. Okay, and with that we started the activity, which means that where is your roommate? So they had to find out their roommate by the end of this activity. Now there are multiple stages followed in this activity. So we followed a methodology of number 1 ESP, that's English for specific purposes, where we emphasized on academic purposes and vocabulary. And the methodology that we followed was task-based language teaching. So we designed tasks in such a way where they were constantly exposed to vocabulary. Let's start it now. So they were, now here, considering the limitation of slide, I have just got 4 questions here. Let's say, for example, may I know shades of which color are your favorite? Okay. So the condition here was that they had to interview their classmates and collect information to find out who can be their best match for being a roommate in hostel. We provided them a list of 20 questions. So here are just 4. Okay, those questions were related to interior of the room, which were like what sort of furniture you require, dining arrangement, bedding arrangement, floor, ceiling, fan, curtains, lights in the room, reading arrangement, all sort of things. Okay, paint of the wall, decoration on floor, maybe if required, all such things were included in it. So they had to go through all the questions and select questions for themselves. Okay. So the first condition was that they had to answer the questions by themselves. Okay. The whole objective of this activity emphasized on, this sequence. Let's say I see, I do, I make mistakes and I learn. Okay. So as an individual, I start doing things and by mistakes I learn. Then there is pair work involved. And after that, there is group work also involved. So for that, it shifts to we do, we make mistakes, we help each other to overcome mistakes, and we learn. Okay, and in each transition, observation is the key of learning. So that's how we progressed. Now what I did, because there was some feeding to be done, once there is an input, then only there can be an output from the side of students. So there was a lot of language input done as a facilitator from my end. So considering task-based language teaching methodology, it was not exactly a teacher role that I performed, but I performed the role of facilitator and helper who could constantly motivate them and push them forward to do the activity, to be active member of the activity. Okay. So considering, I would take you back to the earlier slide. Like this, there were 25 questions, as I mentioned. Okay. And from those 20 to 25 questions, they were asked to select a specific list, let's say 10 questions. Okay. But before they could select the questions, the objective was to make them learn language, vocabulary specifically. So for each question, the slides were designed in such a way where they could get exposed to vocabulary. They were also provided kind of a worksheet where they had a lot of words specific to the questions. So for each question, enough options for answer were also provided. So that comes from here. Okay, I haven't brought the entire range of vocabulary here, but just few on slide for your understanding of how the task would have gone in class. So let's say if there is a question about what color would you prefer to have on walls of the room. Okay, so when it comes to let's say for gray color, the very first would be okay, light gray color, lavender gray, deep gray, soft gray, lilac gray. Okay, so there were variations of shades of gray, and for each shade there was a specific word available. So this is how they were introduced to different colors, not just gray color. Okay, so here comes, okay, so we can see here for orange. So orange, we have peach color, cantaloupe. Okay, so cantaloupe was also a word that they could not pronounce. So we also worked on pronunciation side by side. So there can be cantaloupe orange, coral orange, honey orange. So these are shades of orange. Okay, so we thought of bringing, visuals, a lot of, cards sort of things to them, colorful sheets by which they get exposed to different shades of colors. If you see it here, for green, there is jet green, olive green, grass green, apple green, chartreuse green, lime green. Okay. Now this chartreuse, many of the students used to pronounce it chartreuse, chartreuse. So there was a lot of error taking place in classroom also. But the motto, as I mentioned earlier, I see, I observe, I do, I learn, I make mistakes. Okay, so that goes on constantly throughout the activity. So students used to make mistakes, used to laugh on each other's mistakes and learn from each other. So it was very motivating for them that as a teacher, I was not correcting them, but then their classmates were correcting them. So this is how they were not taught phonetics or the phonetic language, I would say. So that's why I had to spell it out as per the correct pronunciation. So that's how chartreuse was mentioned in a bracket, correct pronunciation, and they kept on doing loud reading of this, started practicing it with each other. They also noted down pronunciation in their mother tongue, in their notes. So that's how what happened was, number one, they were listening to me. Number two, they were reading it on slide. Number three, they were practicing it, speaking it loud and listening to each other. Number 4, they were writing it in their notebook. So I tried to bring in all 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing, LSRW completely, okay, for vocabulary learning. Then comes blue. So, when we shouldn't be, following all those traditional norms and narrowing down to blue for males and pink for females. But then when we say blue, there are only 2 things coming to our mind, okay, navy blue and sky blue. Or maybe someone could exceed to sea blue. That's it. Okay, but then there are varieties of blue as well. Okay, so be it sky blue, dark blue, deep blue, ocean blue, navy blue, denim blue. Okay, and you can see the shades are exactly mentioned in the same order. Okay, and this is how they were provided. So for each color, they were given enough options. Now, this is taken from Google Images. So we can see here different shades of red color, and in different boxes, the name of shade along with the shade is mentioned. Okay, so be it crimson red, cherry red, raspberry red, rose red, wine red. Okay, so all colors. This is how all varieties, shades of colors were provided to them. So that was first question. Okay, I just mentioned here 5 colors. They were provided range of colors, and in each color there were different shades which were provided to them and which they literally discussed in class. Okay, moving to second, let's say flooring of room. What sort of flooring of room do you prefer? As an answer to this, the first task was that once they select the questions, they had to write answers as per their choices, that what do I prefer to have in my room. Okay, so here for flooring, there were different options provided. For example, in carpeting, or maybe tile, or in stone. Okay, so there were range of colors and patterns and textures available. Okay, there were sheets also available, which are now quite popular in interiors of the room, which are seen in houses and specifically in offices as well. Now, this word which comes here again, there is pronunciation mentioned. So it's vinyl sheets. Okay, so vinyl sheets, but then in India, popularly it is spoken unknowingly as vinyl sheet. So that vinyl word itself is wrong pronunciation. It has to be vinyl sheets. Okay, so this is how different vocabulary was provided to them. Similarly, there were options of flooring like tile flooring, where ceramic and porcelain options were available. Stone, so if they go for stone, again there were further options available. So, category into that subcategory, and in everywhere, be it category, new word, be it subcategory, new word. So they are constantly exposed to new vocabulary. So earlier, the fear that they had about the vocabulary when they used to listen it from the mouth of professor, or just a word written on, whiteboard, it was difficult for them to visualize and remember. So we also tried not only including LSRW, all skills, but also trying to involve multiple intelligences by which they could see, they could remember, okay, they could relate. And that's how we went ahead. So if we go ahead for more options, let's say in flooring. So what we generally say is we would prefer to have wooden flooring. But in wooden flooring also, there are multiple options. So being a common man, being layman, I would say that I would prefer to have a wooden flooring in my house or in my office. Okay. But as an interior designer, when your client asks you for a wooden flooring, you should be, asking question to your client. And in that question, you provide this range of vocabulary. When you mention this, your client also starts believing in you that, okay, interior of my house or my office, that project is really in trustworthy hands. Okay, so it's not just showing your knowledge or bombarding or boosting about your knowledge, but it's actually making people believe in your authentic work, or making people believe that it would be done thoroughly, safely, sincerely. Okay, so this also relates to ethics. So in between, we used to divert a bit to different areas by which they understand the things of their profession also. So in wooden floor, there were so many options available for them. So let's say natural wood, cherry wood, walnut wood, maple wood, ebony wood, gunstock wood, golden oak. Okay, so again, they are kept in same order here for you to understand, and same was done with students. So other than providing this to them on screen, we also had taken color prints in class, which we circulated when the session was going on. Okay. Then comes next, wallpapers or patterns. Okay, so patterns, the popular patterns are floral or geometric. Okay, but then there are many other options. So people are just aware of floral patterns, okay, majority of them. So we also introduce them to different vocabulary for this. So there can be abstract patterns, geometric and floral were popular. Mosaic, patchwork. Patchwork is quite popular in rural India because that relates to traditional art and culture. So patchwork is also now equally popular. So now in metro cities, when people think of interior of their house and they would like to make some cozy arrangement, they prefer to have patchwork. So not only a vocabulary, okay, but we also related them with some stories, some, root culture, which also helped them to remember it. So you could see LSRW skills, multiple intelligence involvement, multiple revisions taking place, plus bringing in a story also, making it more visual and relatable to them. Okay, so engineered work, period art, textured, structured. So there were varieties provided in this. So students get exposed to all these options. So number one, the knowledge was also new for them. Number two, vocabulary was definitely a focus for them. Similarly, there were many such slides and sheets prepared for the students, which emphasized on different areas of interior, as I mentioned earlier, be it lighting, study table, curtains of the house, bedding, whatever. Okay, so this would give them sort of a visualization that this would be my hostel room. Okay, this is what I expect to be there in my hostel room for this activity. So if we talk about lighting, chandelier lighting, pendant lighting, ceiling, recessed lighting, vanity lighting, track lighting, landscape, swing arm lamps. Okay, so sometimes students had an understanding that I would like to have this sort of lighting, but they didn't know word for it. Okay, and when we discuss it here, again, you can see that chandelier lighting is definitely not possible in hostel room. They generally can be in banquet halls or at royal places or at the time of functions, okay, like celebrations, wedding, such things. So then lights also relate to culture, relate to function, relate to objective of usage. And this all we connected with lighting. Okay. If we move to curtains, again, we can see here different vocabulary, box, pleat, tuxedo, pleat, rod, pocket, tailored pleat, goblet. Now, goblet again would be in a hall, or again that shows luxury, that shows celebration. So goblet would not be possible in hostel room. Okay, so such things were also helpful for them to understand usage of particular vocabulary, particular function of the interior art. If we talk about bedding, so in bedding, we talked about different varieties of bedding also. Let's say bookcase, where they had an option of keeping books. So that suits best in case of a hostel room environment, which would be a space saving furniture plus convenient option as well. Okay, rocking would be kind of an arrangement which would be on terrace, in garden, in penthouses, in open areas, but not in hostel room. Okay, concealed can also be a good option. We can see that concealed, bookcase, both options are given here. Okay, wave would also relate to rocking, so it's again for open areas, not for room. Double decker, we have seen this probably in 80s, 90s movies where hostel rooms were shown to us in movies. So double decker arrangement. Canopy, canopy we have seen, I would say that relates to more of a Gothic architecture. So canopy, and for every option here, we ask them to recall movies. And for canopy, when we explained the term that this is the arrangement in canopy, most of the students answered that horror movies show sort of arrangement in bedroom where the bed has canopy arrangement. Okay, so this is how they could relate to a lot of things. Now, let us understand how the task progressed. Okay, so the very first thing that they were supposed to do as a part of this activity was to read the questions. The list of, I told you that 20 to 25 questions were provided to them. So they read all the questions. Okay, they went through all the answers which were mentioned in sheets or on slide, which were discussed and explained in the class, and they discussed it as well in group. Okay, the second task was, out of the list of questions, they had to select any 10 questions. Okay, once the 10 questions were selected, they were asked to form a group of 4 to 5 members. Let's say group of 4 members. Okay, 4 students. Say if a class had around 30 students. Okay, so we could have 7 to 8 groups in a class. Third task was group discussion, that they would discuss it in a group that why have they selected these 10 questions. So they would mention what questions have they selected, and then they would discuss that why out of all those, these are more important for them considering interior of their hostel room, and the others can be neglected. Okay. Then task 4 was that they were supposed to ask these questions to others. Now, before they asked, they had to write answers of these questions by themselves, which was also a part of task 3. Other than discussing why have they selected these questions, they would also discuss that this is their answer, that this is what I would prefer to have in my room, this sort of flooring, this sort of bedding, this sort of lighting, likewise. Okay. Then they had to ask questions to 3 students in class, and the condition here was that now the group would disperse. So they had already discussed the questions in group. They will not be interviewing any of the students from group. So except these 3 members of the group. So if I'm 4th member, I'm 1st member and the other 3 members. So other than these 3 members, I would interview 3 students from class. This brings in mobility in class. Okay, so they would take up their sheets and pen and they would look at people, they would move around, walk and talk, discuss things. So they are standing and talking to each other. Okay, so they are repeating the questions. In mind, they are repeating vocabulary because if someone asked question, they also had to answer. So you could see that already enough revisions were done of vocabulary. Now, again, the revision would continue. So the beauty of task-based language teaching is that the vocabulary gets repeated multiple times. Now, this was short of a blank sheet provided to them with 10 lines considering 10 questions. So the first column had 10 questions, second column had their own answers. Okay, and then 3 classmates whom they interview and their answers. So they would write just keywords as an answer. So here again, they are listening to it, they are speaking it, they are writing it. Okay, so multiple skills applied and revision of vocabulary is taking place once again here. Plus, this also makes them understand that how note making is important. Another byproduct of this activity, and this is also a skill, academic skill or a study skill, which they need to have. When they study other subjects, note making becomes important for them. Okay, so this was just for an example. I had filled the table here. Okay, so next task was to go through the data that they had collected. Means once the sheet is ready, filled, okay, all 3 interviews are conducted. Okay, so they had to go through the data. And from this data, they had to select that out of these 3 classmates, who can be the best match for my room. So who can be considered as the best match to be my roommate? Okay, and in homework, they had to write around 100 words description about the choice that they have made. If we move further to second class, so there was homework already allotted to them. Now, second class, it continues with the same tasks. So you see, it was not just day one when they practiced all the things. Day two, day three would be there when they continuously repeat the vocabulary, repeat the learning that they had. Okay. So now, day one, they had made a group of 4 members. So they go back to the same group as a part of task 3 and discuss that I interviewed these 3 people and I think that this can be the best choice for being my roommate. And that's what you discuss in that group. So again, all 4 members discuss it. All 4 members bring in their vocabulary. So if I had selected 10 specific questions, the other might have selected different questions, the other 3 members. And that's how, even though I did not select certain questions, I would get exposed to vocabulary of those questions when others explain their choices. Okay. Task 7. Task 7, I tried to sort of bring in a flipped classroom mode where in class we made them watch 2 videos. Okay, but in homework they were given multiple videos, and that's the reason I have mentioned here 3 to 5 videos, okay, which were of linking words. So now instead of I teaching them linking words, okay, there were guest faculties in form of video lectures. So they got introduced, they could see new faces teaching them something about different topics, about different linking words, okay, how to describe their choices. So that would be helpful for them to prepare the write-up, descriptive write-up of who can be their best roommate. Okay. Then task 8 was the earlier writing which they had done in homework of 100 words. Okay, after going through these videos, they had to discuss it with each other, that what they had written was correct or what mistakes they could find out. If not, they discuss it in a class. The others would help in that group of 4 members. The others would help to find out the errors. So this is how, again, peer correction and peer learning takes place. These are just some examples. So these were different videos. So one video provided information of how to use different linking words for adding information. The second was about reasoning, third on contrast, similarity, opinion. So that's how they were provided 5 different videos explaining these concepts, that how these words can be used. Okay. So from there, now we shift to homework of second session. You see, first session, then second session, and homework of second session. So second session, again, they had to watch those videos. Okay, so again, experience of flipped class where they do something by themselves at home, watching videos, learning something from different people. So they watched videos. This was sort of a revision for them. And then they, once homework that they had done, they would rewrite it. Okay, and now they will use all linking words that they have learned. They discussed it already in class, in group, okay, 2-3 times. Then they watched the videos once again, understood the concept once again, and they applied their knowledge. Okay, so then this takes place. So they would use linking words, they would use vocabulary, okay, and then task 11 is that at home they had to practice delivering a speech, okay, that why person A is the best choice to be my roommate, and I explain it in 100 words. So that's a speech practice which I do. Third session was delivering a speech where entire class delivered speeches, everybody listened to each other. Okay, from there we moved to fourth class, and they were informed earlier that the fourth class would be counted for evaluation, but actually we didn't do that. But considering that it is evaluation, students made sincere attempts in earlier sessions. Okay, so here now we started moving to different activities where they could practice learning of earlier sessions. Okay, so now they were asked to work in a pair. So there were 2 people working together. They were informed that now both of you are assigned one room. And now as a pair, you have to rework on what sort of arrangements you require as interior of your room. And here they were provided 5 options, A, B, C, D, E. Okay. And for these 5 options, they had to think. Right. Now, they were also informed that one of the members would leave and then they will be discussing the matters with interior designer, which means they had to be ready. There was an element of surprise that who would be asked to leave and who would be participating in the activity would be decided by teacher. That means both of them have to be ready with this. So then there was a task for evaluation that they were asked to develop a conversation considering that they are talking to the interior designer. Any one of the room member is talking to the interior designer. Okay. And then again, the topics are same. Out of these 5, they had to select any one. Let's say if I select flooring, I'll have a discussion about what sort of flooring I require in my room. So I, who is going to stay in the room, would have a discussion, role play with another person from my class who is considered to be a designer of my room, who would design the room as per my instructions. Okay. And the condition which was kept here that both of them should get 10 chances of speaking. Okay. So 10 utterances. So they listed out everything. They prepared written conversation. Once the conversation was ready, okay, they were informed that how they would be graded. So you see, they were not informed in advance. They were asked to prepare the dialogue in written form first. Okay. And here we introduced evaluation rubrics to them so that it helps them to understand that this would not be a biased evaluation. Okay. There are things clear-cut mentioned and it would be followed. The role of evaluation rubrics is that students have clarity that how much they are supposed to do to get what marks. Okay. So they can work together. They can work more on the areas in which they are weak. They can identify, their own weaknesses and overcome them by practicing more. Okay. So that's how it helps them to improve. So this, again, I am not able to bring it extensively here, considering the limitations of slide and the font size. But this is what I can have here. So you can see there are 5 criteria graded for 1, 2, 3, 4 marks. So 5 fours are 20 maximum marks for dialogue. So correct use of WH questions, correct use of prepositional phrases, correct use of topic-specific vocabulary, correct use of transition words, overall communication. Okay. So though we brought in other elements, indeed, the focus was on vocabulary development. So this is just for your reference. So if we see it here, okay, topic-specific vocabulary uses only 1 word, so 1 mark, uses 2 words, 2 marks, uses 2 words with repetition. Okay, so we can see here 3 marks and then similarly 4 marks. So that's how it went on. All rubrics together. So this was provided to students. Again, in groups, they had to discuss it with each other, and then they were asked to evaluate their own writing. Okay. So the next task in 4th session of evaluation was go through evaluation rubric and do self-evaluation of the conversation written. So the conversation that they had written, they did self-evaluation of it. Okay. They did evaluation of it. And then the third task was they were asked to prepare conversation once again. So if they had scored less in particular area, okay, of any of these parameters, so for that, they can go through the evaluation rubric table, understand how they can score more, and they can rework on it, which means you can see once again, revision of everything is taking place. Now, the original task was this again was not informed to them. The evaluation rubrics which were provided to them here, this is of 20 marks. So this was half. The evaluation was of 40 marks. Why? Because this is what for written dialogue that they had prepared. They had to deliver, they had to perform the dialogue. Okay. So by this, afterwards, I introduced additional criteria of evaluation. Now, this was to be considered for speaking, which included pronunciation, fluency, eye contact, posture, coordination. Okay. So 5 parameters and 4 marks. So again, 20. Okay. So similarly, it's like speaks without or very less time of eye contact, looking at roof or looking at floor. Many students have this tendency of not facing the target audience. So they get only 1 mark for it. Speaks occasionally with eye contact, 2 marks. Generally speaks with contact but loses it in between, 3 marks. And that's how we had it in detail. How it helped? So number one, LSRW, all skills were involved. I also discussed that multiple intelligence was involved. There were not only, yes, no questions, but real WH questions, which they had to answer specifically, which they can also use in real life situations later on. And they also learned how, after learning, selecting the information, using it specifically, they could learn note making along with this. They could compare the information that they had. They could select the information. They also included their own reasoning for it, that why this and why not this. That taught them a lot of structures in terms of vocabulary and sentence structure as well. Okay, so this is how all goes on. The best thing for students was that I, hardly found 10% students who could hesitate, or even less than that, I would say. Otherwise, generally, when we ask questions to students, we see that hardly 4 or 5 students keep on answering questions in entire class. But here the situation was reverse. Everybody was involved in the activity. Everybody was constantly speaking. There was a lot of noise taking place in class. And the reason was there was independent learning, peer learning, group learning, pair learning, fun learning. It was fun for them. Okay. And the new evaluation rubrics, they were given a scope of reworking on their tasks so that they could score more, was also another motivating factor for them. So the group was of 75 students. We broke it into we had 2 groups of 1 class. So that's how we had 37 students as a controlled group and 36 students as experiment group. We had a pre-test. Then control group was taught traditionally, chalk and talk method, everything. And then the experimental group emphasized on task-based, all these visuals, sheets, pair work, group work, LSRW, multiple intelligence, everything. And then post-test was conducted. We can see the scores here. Okay, so for pre-test, we could see that the mean score was 40 for controlled group, but for post-test, it was 39.89. So we could see that as such, there is no difference. It's almost same. Okay, but for experimental group, pre-test score, mean score was 39, while in post-test, we could see it's 69. Okay, quite close to double, we can say. Okay, it increased by almost 30 marks. So this was the difference that we could notice. After we thought that this might be biased because I, being an independent teacher, conducted this with a specific group. I might have been biased with traditional group, being more conservative, and with experimental group being more creative and experimental. So I did further workshops to validate it. And I collected feedback from 142 students and even from 89 teachers on the same task. So I conducted 2 to 3 hours workshop in different universities. Okay, so here is a list that I conducted workshops in 7 different universities, and these are the number of students with whom I conducted workshop and collected data. So I made them fill the questionnaire, had oral discussion also about it. Okay, so these are letters as a proof that I collected from them, from all the universities. And here is a list of teaching staff. So what I did for this, I had similarly online session, number 1. Number 2, the 7 universities where I conducted sessions with students physically, few teachers also joined there. Okay, so I collected feedback from them over there. I had once online webinar for the teachers, once offline webinar for the teachers. At that time, I was working with Parul University. That's number 1 here. We can see that 42 respondents were from there. So I conducted workshop physically there. So it was one Saturday, we had one full day workshop, and then I collected feedback from them. So this is how we can see total 89 students, 89 faculties feedback was collected. So that's it from my side. What I observed so far in this research in terms of my sharing, I would say that still there are a lot of things to be done. This was one experiment which worked out successfully. But then, I also learned a lot of don'ts. It's not just to do what I could do, but I also learned a lot of don'ts, that these are the things which we have been, doing in a wrong manner in traditional classes. So with this, I end my experience sharing here. Namrata madam, to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful presentation and the explanation. I really enjoyed it. And now we are open for the question and answer session. We do have few of the questions. I'll just put it in front of you, sir.
Sure.
Please give me a minute. So the first question, sir, is all these mentioned tasks can be done during one class only, or it will be used in different lessons? I'll just put the other question also, maybe it help you. Can all these tasks apply in the same level of students? That means primary, secondary, and tertiary students. And then again, the same, that they want to know till which level and how it can be used.
Okay. I would answer second question first. That as we conducted pre-test, we could understand the level of students, number one. Number two, we also had informal discussion with the students in class before we started the course. Number three, we did needs analysis with the students, okay, and other stakeholders. So all this helped us to understand the level of students. So existing level of students was of A2. Okay, so we designed content for A2 level students. So whatever research I have presented here was of A2 level, and we could help them, raise their standards to B1 and B2. That's what we could do in one semester's time. To first question, I would say that it depends again on level that you are teaching. Number one, as I mentioned, session 1, 2, 3, 4, and in evaluation, there were 3 sessions. Okay, so the content which I discussed today was taught in around 7 to 8 hours. Okay, plus I had only around 35 students in a class. But if you have more students in a class, that would take more time to you. If you have less students in a class, you might be able to complete it in less time. So it also depends on multiple factors. Okay, number one, the activities and the time that you assign for activities. Number two, the number of students you have in class.
Okay. So everyone is praising you for the excellent presentation. I guess there are no more questions, but still, if you have any, yes, you can put here, or you can mail us at IELTA India, and definitely sir will answer and get back to your questions. Now, yes, another exciting thing, the selfie time. So let's get ready for the selfie. Everyone, put your best foot forward. Nice smiling faces.
Let them open the cameras.
Everyone, please open your cameras. We would like to have your lovely pictures. Thank you. A few more. Thank you so much. So now, okay. So moving ahead, now I call upon Dr. Neil for the reflection on the presentation. And if possible, I think we have Miss Christina also along with us. So I would like to call both
one
of
second.
them.
Hold on.
She's
hold on.
not here?
Dr. Neil is from board of IELTA, and I'm looking for Sola also. The Sola is already there, but now she's not here. I think, okay, you can go and check for the feedback from anyone. Dr. Chandrakant sir, would you like to speak something? Okay, call Mr. David. Are you there? You want to say something? Reflection? Anyone can say something? One or two lines? Hold on. It's time for Ravikant sir, a later part. Okay, you want to unmute yourself. Yes, Mr. David. I've unmuted your mic.
Yeah, I just would like to say I enjoyed the presentation. I'm a headmaster of a bilingual IB school. I also have a large institute. I travel a lot and do presentations myself, and I found it very interesting. It gave me a few things that I can consider and try. The world since the pandemic has changed so much. The learning styles and techniques of our children have changed. Technology has changed. The beauty of such presentations as this is that we all get to share what we've learned and how to apply it and how to be better teachers. So, congratulations, Raja. I found it to be very useful. And I've got things which I would like to share with my teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words and the appreciation. So yes, now I call upon Dr.
Miss Nirmala. Miss Nirmala is there or anyone from the other countries? Please feel free to
Ma'am,
share
would you
2
please
lines.
like to reflect?
Brinda
Nirmala
ma'am
ma'am?
is there. Brinda ma'am is called. Brinda ma'am also. Brinda
Thank you
ma'am,
so
are you there?
much. Thank you so much, Dr. Kalyani,
Yes, ma'am.
Namrata ma'am as well. I enjoyed the presentation from Dr. Pradyumansinh. Sorry if I
You can say
pronounce
Miss Professor Raj. It's enough.
Professor Raj. Okay. Okay, I call the short form Professor Raj. Thank you so much. I enjoyed the presentation. Being a teacher in the ESL classroom, vocabulary seems to be very difficult for my students, especially because our formal language is Malay language. So the students tend to translate the English language words to Malay language in order to understand. So by using the colored method, I think this will be an interesting method to for my students to learn vocabulary, and definitely like what Mr. David said just now, me too, I'm going to share with my teachers and also the students so that they are able to get the glimpses of what they have presented, and definitely it's going to be very useful for them. Thank you so much, Dr. Raj, for this wonderful, incredible presentation, and the slides are simply colorful and really nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this wonderful feedback.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, you said Brinda,
You can
ma'am.
go, you can ask
Brinda,
Brinda ma'am, and then you can go for felicitations.
Brinda, ma'am, may we have you for the reflection?
Okay, ma'am is not available. Okay, you can go on. We can go for the felicitations.
So now, of course, I invite our dear President and the country ambassador, Dr. Kalyani Rao, for doing the felicitations. Of course, no need of introduction for her, but yes, just a few words like, yes, she is the multifaceted. She is a mentor, she is a yoga trainer, she is an environmentalist. Now she is part of so many associations, including the IELTA India. So yes, Kalyani ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Please put the slides, felicitation slide. Thank you so much, Professor Raj, for giving your precious time. I know it's working days very, very hard to you. You're working on multiple boards, and you know from the scholars, your university, you have a private classes for your students. Again, you have to travel. So many things for giving your precious time. And I would like to give you a little bit, gratitude from IELTA India. Though you're a part of IELTA India board member, I would like to honor you with this e-certificate in recognition of your exemplary delivery of knowledge transfer and countless presentation skills as our honorable speaker during IELTA India's webinar series number 6, titled From the Lens of English Language and Vocabulary Teaching, held on 5th April 2024, virtually from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. We would like to thank you for your kind support and for sharing your valuable time with us. We highly appreciate your presence, insightful advices, enthusiastic cooperation, and engaging our participants today throughout the webinar. And we are awarding this certificate on 5th April 2024 via Zoom, and it is duly signed by Dr. Neil Alvaro Alcantara, IELTA International President, and Dr. Glenn P. Costanzo, IELTA Academic Director, and of course myself, Dr. Kalyani Rao, IELTA President, India. Ma'am, can you put the second slide in the PPT slide mode? Next slide, please. Yes, I would like to thank our today's moderator, who is a very busy teacher and mother and a daughter-in-law, but still she gave her time after the school, and really she has done very well. In a short period of time, she accepted my request. And ma'am, this is a token of a gratitude from IELTA India. Though you're an IELTA India member and you're always been there with me since long 4.5 years journey in all my webinars, etc. And in recognition of your outstanding and exemplary contribution as a moderator at IELTA India's webinar series 6, titled From the Lens of English Language or Vocabulary Teaching, presented by the Professor Pradyumansinh Y Raj today and held on 5th October, that is 2024, virtually 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. We highly appreciate your deep involvement in the virtual session with a special, unique style of moderation, supporting us with your endless energy levels, incredible team spirit, and wonderful coordination throughout the webinar. Awarded this certificate on 5th April 2024 via Zoom and duly signed by our designated IELTA board members, Dr. Neil Alvaro Alcantara, India International President, and Dr. Glenn P. Costanzo, IELTA Academic Director, and of course, it's me again, the IELTA India President. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this opportunity to share my, I can say like my gratitude, and more than gratitude, I don't know the words. Today, your people have done successfully the webinar, and I would like to ask you to invite our special guest today, who is waiting in the lobby. I mean, is in the chat box, chat room. We can invite him and we can honor him after this. Thank you. Over to Mrs. Namrata. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namrata ma'am, please invite the guest.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, now the next part, inviting our special guest. Excuse me. So yes, today's our special guest is Mr. Perukulambil Ravikant. His educational qualifications are he is Master in Commerce in Finance, Bachelor of Commerce in Computers, Bachelor of Education in Guidance and Counseling. His special skills are he is a global ambassador and master trainer at All India Educators Forum, master trainer in soft skills, a certified storyteller, founder of SN Teacher Training and Ravi Story Space. Special certifications are certification in learning disabilities from Inclusion Learning, certified as Platinum Gold and Silver level soft skill trainer from Sintamani Skill Guru. So yes, inviting our special guest. So please.
Thank you, Namrata ma'am. Firstly, I would like to thank Dr. Kalyani Rao, the country ambassador of IELTA India, who has given me this wonderful opportunity to propose a vote of thanks for this wonderful webinar. I would like to thank Professor Pradyumansinh Y Raj, the Academic Director of the Department of Trainings of IELTA India, Dr. Ramkishan B. Baes, Academic Director for the Department of Learning and Development, Dr. Dhanam Shivalingam, the Executive Board Advisor, Mrs. L. Christina Michael, Mr. Ayapparaj Mani, Mr. Vishnu Nair, Dr. Venkata Kamaraju, all the members of the IELTA India. Moving further, throwing light on few insights that we have got from today's session. It is task-based language teaching, which is more a sort of experiential learning. It has given about a lot for all of us to learn today. The involvement of peers has also gave us an input that when energies come together, there will be a lot to explore and achieve. No doubt, the way LSRW skills were integrated strategically in the activities designed by Mr. Raj, there is a lot to reflect for all of us on our teaching methods after listening to these techniques. I would also like to mention that while covering different elements of interior designing, the wall colors, flooring, curtains, and etc., the way teaching of vocabulary integrated was really amazing. And I'm sure that every participant had a takeaway from it. No doubt, the outcomes of independent learning, peer learning, group learning, and fun learning were definitely met. It's time that I thank our moderator, Mrs. Namrata Bobde, for the excellent way she has introduced each one of us and running the session very smoothly. Last but not least, I would like to thank our wonderful participants who were very active throughout the session, without whom this wouldn't have been such a great webinar. Thank you one and all once again. And I'm very much indebted to Dr. Kalyani Rao, who has given me this wonderful opportunity to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind appreciation. So yes, now upcoming with the vote of thanks by Kalyani ma'am also. Ma'am, please.
I already done, I think. You people have given more information. It's just overall a thanks to each and everyone from my bottom of my heart, right from Mrs. Nirmala Devi Kandasamy from Malaysia. She always there for me for all the support technically and even for all kind of back end. Of course, my team is always my backbone, IELTA India team. Of course, Christina ma'am and even Professor Raj. I compelled him actually to give the session. Thank you so much, sir. Really, it's so colorful. We learned a lot actually about vocabulary through colors. Maybe for you all it's common, but for us, even learn a lot of learnings today. And I also thankful for Mr. David and even other attendees who are there today shared the reflections in the chat box, and especially Ravikant sir. Ravikant sir is just yesterday night I asked him if agreed and accepted to give a vote of thanks. Thank you so much, sir. Your lovely time and precious time is the family time for you all. And all the attendees here really thanking you a lot for giving your invaluable presence, making this webinar series number 6 as very successful. Over to my Namrata ma'am. I think I'm going
And
to
before
post
leaving,
about.
yes, we have a token of appreciation for our Ravi sir also. So I will share it. Please, you just read it out.
Yeah, the special guest certificate you can post. Here comes Mr. Ravikant Perikolambal. Actually, it's a South Indian name, typical South Indian name. So in recognition of your immeasurable insights and energetic thanking note as our special guest on IELTA India's, this is the webinar series number 6, but first webinar in 2024 from the lens of, titled as From the Lens of English Language Vocabulary Teaching, presented by Professor Raj today, held on 5th April 2024 virtually from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So we highly appreciate your valuable presence, resourceful insights, encouragement to the audience, and cooperation with us. Thanks for giving your precious time once again and awarding the certificate on 5th April 2024 virtually via Zoom. Of course, this is duly signed by IELTA board members, even myself. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks once again. Over to Namrata. I think we can post the participation certificate. People are waiting. We can announce about participation certificate and just remind about the upcoming events. Thank you so much.
Yes, as in the start also we mentioned 13th April, please book the date. 13th April, another interesting roundtable conference we all are having. So yes, we all are going to meet very soon. The attendance link will be posting it now, and please note that it would be active only for the next 20 minutes. So please copy, fill up the links as fast as you all can. And thank you all for taking out your precious time. Thank you, each one of you, from bottom of my heart, for supporting it. Yes, this was the first webinar of IELTA India of 2024. But yes, what a great start. Indeed, I think you all will agree to it. So yes, now posting the link. It has already been posted. Again, just a reminder, it will be active only for 20 minutes. Thank you so much. Have a nice day, night. Greetings again. Thank you.
Ma'am, please
Yeah,
check.
thank you very much,
They're saying
everybody.
it's not opening. Please check
Hmm.
if we have enabled it.
Nirmala, can you check that the attendance link is opening actually? If they have problem, we can't do it. We have checked it already today also, afternoon also, even 1 hour before. They have to open it on the desktop, or they can copy the link and they can fill it within 15-20 minutes.
It's not opening for me. It's not opening
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
Hello, IELTA India. First, congratulations for such webinar, but the link not working. Even the second one that you just sent.
You copy the link. You copy the link. I'll make it active. Just stay back.
The link is not opening at all.
I'm too checking it. Just have patience. Or you copy the link. Copy the link on your desktop or in mobile. We will activate it. Actually, it was working even half an hour before we checked it. Just a minute. Be patient. Don't worry. I'll be just looking into that. Nimla ma'am, I shared a link with you, right? Participation certificate in the morning. Can you check it out?
Okay. Actually, I'm checking the link. It's we are accepting responses, but let me see whether the link is the same.
I think,
The one you shared with me, right?
yeah.
I've already opened it just now. Hang on a minute.
Okay, check this link. It's opening. This one, you check it.
Yeah, we check
I'll give
the one. Okay, we check the one you're posting now. Yeah, it's opening. The one you have posted, it's opening now.
Yeah, the link is opening, ma'am.
Thank you.
Hello?
Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, the link is opening.
Yes.
A few other members in the chat, they are also sharing that the link is opening now. So I think it's resolved.
I can see people are applying. I can see the names are coming here. No problem. I think you all please copy the link on your desktop or in a mobile for a safe side. We'll keep it open. Now, don't admit anyone They're coming with unknown names. Namrata ma'am, can you please post the last link again, once again?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry for the inconvenience for this link inactive. Thank you for all for your patience and really cooperation. I really appreciate for that. Thank you, IELTA members, for country ambassadors, for giving your best time for us today. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Bye-bye.